I just love football. I just love it.
He might be the next Eli Manning.
Eli throwing into traffic on the sideline. They get a rule and a catch by Manningham.
Baseball, that's everything. That's my pride and joy. That's my whole childhood.
He might be the next CC Sabathia.
Strike three, Revere down looking.
Baseball for a good part of my life was probably the most important thing.
They might also never get the chance to be any sort of star at any level because kid injuries are on the rise. Up 60% for football and baseball alone over the last decade.
Anything my team needed to win, I was that guy. I always wanted to win. Nobody wants to lose. And as a pitcher, quitting, losing is not an option.
At the time of my injury, I was 16. I was actually throwing better than I ever had before.
It's the only sport that loads one ligament every time to almost the maximum the ligament can withstand.
Kyle Gribbins and Peter Guzman are just two of the thousands of teenage pitchers who've torn their ulnar collateral ligament, also known as the Tommy John injury.
I heard a pop in my elbow and I just kind of felt it tore immediately. I realized it wasn't getting any better, so I went to a different doctor. He told me immediately, yeah, there's definitely a tear. I don't even have to look at the MRI.
First, I had a partial torn ligament on my right elbow. And the physical therapist had actually told me, keep on working out, try to get stronger. 6 months later, I get a second opinion. He said, by doing all this, now it's completely torn. It's like off your bone.
You can see the lower half of the ligament as this black, thick, healthy structure. And then you see this big tear right through it and all the fluid around from the tear.
But when a kid gets hurt, it's different. It's a kid's body, underdeveloped and unfinished.
When this injury occurs before the growth plates are closed, the treatment of the injury is much more complex and the results are clearly not as good.
I never got back to what I was before. I just wanted my arm back.
I had an ERA under 1. I had thrown over 100 innings though. So I think that was where it was, that it started leading into issues.
Issues youth leagues are now trying to prevent by monitoring pitchers more closely.
You want to keep the pitch count down, maybe around 50 or 60. I don't allow my pitchers to throw a curveball until maybe 16.
Guzman's dream ended 5 years ago when he was just 15.
It was heartbreaking because year after year, this is what I trained for. Pretty much 6-7 days a week.
As for 18-year-old Kyle Gribbins,
it kind of killed me inside. I went through a little depression afterwards. I mean, getting hurt actually cost me going away to Vermont.
So while baseball players need to mainly take care of their arms, so football players need to worry about their heads.
Nearly 150,000 student athletes suffered concussions that were even reported in 2012. That number's double from 10 years ago. And here's another startling statistic for you. Nearly 50% of all high school athletes won't even report that they're suffering from concussion-like symptoms.
My favorite part about playing is the contact.
Over the last, 10, 15 years, there's been a glorification at a higher level of the big hit.
A new study found that high school football players sustain twice as many concussions than those in college. It's not just more concussions, it's more dangerous too.
What's interesting about concussion is the only injury where kids take longer to heal than adults.
Wake up, play hard.
It takes a full 25 years for the brain to fully mature.
I feel excited. I feel just really pumped up.
Oh, let's go. You gotta run with it.
Another study recently found that 7-year-olds sustain hits to the head comparable to those of high school and college football players.
The problem with the kids is when they hit, because their heads are so big and their necks are so weak, there's greater movement of the head on the body.
The Institute of Medicine recently found that at least 20% of athletes who have a concussion have symptoms that last longer than 2 weeks.
There are differences in the genetic predisposition, and there's differences in who gets hit where and how hard.
I had one concussion in my entire 12-year career. What they would consider a concussion then and what they consider one now, it may be a different story.
The two-time Super Bowl champ credits good coaching from a young age for coming out of the most dangerous sport with minimal injuries.
Safety starts at home in terms of checking the equipment, buying the right equipment. We try and emphasize, not leading with the head and not, face masking or spearing or anything like that.
Let's go! Let's go! I'm not worried because it can happen in any sport. It's not just in football.
I'm not concerned whatsoever.
What should be concerning, though, are the potential long-term effects of repetitive hits to the head. The Centers for Disease Control found that NFL players are 4 times more likely to die from Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, or ALS. Research has also associated the degenerative disease CTE with contact sports.
30 yards. Jacobs ran into Eli, who got popped.
So as you watch Eli Manning take the big hits and CeCe Sabathia throw pitch after pitch, you might want to ask if the dream for athletic perfection today is too much for our athletes of tomorrow.